Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we're talking about the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. It's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you're all enjoying your time with your families and having a fantastic overall season. Whatever you celebrate, I hope you're enjoying it. The Lakers, hopefully they can give us something to celebrate tonight, although the odds don't look too good, seeing as that the odds makers have us as a 7-point, them as a 7-point favorite to beat us, the Lakers. So my concern with our team is pretty much everything right now, given how we just lost to the Charlotte Hornets and gave up 134 points in a game that I was certain we had every opportunity to win if we just would have shuffled our lineup around a little bit. Size was the issue. Patrick Beverley and Dennis Smith Jr. I don't know what I'm thinking. Dennis Schroeder played 30 minutes and 27 minutes respectively, and were a -8. And even though I thought they played pretty well, Patrick Beverley only missed one shot. Dennis Schroeder's been playing pretty well for the last couple of weeks since we've been featuring him. But the problem is, featuring Dennis Schroeder leaves you at a disadvantage defensively naturally, just because he's a shorter guy out there and a lighter guy out there. So people can kind of push him around, shoot over him, rebound over him. Second chance points come easier. It's just a lot of different things that happen if you don't supplement his piece with a lot of size around him. We don't do that. What our coach wants to do is put Patrick Beverley, who's his size and even less efficient in certain areas, next to him and plays them for good significant portions of the game. So even though a lot of other stuff goes on with the team not having enough talent in other areas, at the end of the day, when you're watching the team play, this is what is taking place that ultimately leaves them at a disadvantage during good pockets of the time of the game. So usually he'll put those guys on the floor together. We end up having a deficit. He brings in the guys with size to come in and pull us out of it. So that's what usually happens. They'll pull us out of it. He'll sub them two back in, and then the deficit will come back around. And so it's one of those situations where when you see the ebbs and flows of the games be so very obviously consistent with this thing that's continuing to happen, it's become clear to me that it just simply needs to not happen in order for you to compete more so. So that's the problem. He needs to use Patrick Beverley and Dennis Schroeder better and less frequently. And most importantly, never together. And then even more so, to double down on that, not play a small forward who's also a guard in the lineups with them. You're tripling down on your issues. You're tripling down on the fact that now that third person needs to play double the defense, and he's not defensively inclined himself. Usually being Lonnie Walker III, he's a solid defensive player, but you definitely don't want him trying to make up for their defensive deficiency, especially since their height issues. And he is only like 6'5" himself. So it's like, this is bad all the way around. You leave TB in a position to have to be a rim protector. TB's not a defensive center. He's not very good defensively at all. So you want him to be more so featured on the offensive end. If you feature him as an offensive player and don't worry about his defense, you're going to get a heck of a lot out of him, because he's going to exert all of his energy on the offensive side, and he's got a lot of energy to give. So it's a rare trait, but you got to psych yourself and understand what you're looking at, because he's a big black dude, 7 feet. You think he's going to be down there defending and blocking shots. He's kind of clunky in such a way that most of those defensive guys are. But when you watch him play defense, he's not getting in front of anybody, and that's just who he is. And so you got to be okay with that. And just like any other offensive player, leave that side alone. Put a defensive player next to him to supplement what it is that he's not on the defensive side. And then, which is probably someone like Wenyen Gabriel, or preferably, obviously, Anthony Davis. But we don't have that option, clearly. So you put him in a lineup with that person, let that person focus on the defense, make up for what he doesn't do defensively, and then give him his offensive touches so he can give you his 19 and 10 every night, because he's capable of doing that, hitting corner threes and stuff like that. He's been shooting very well from behind the arc. So I just want our coach to understand who he is so he doesn't misevaluate what it is he can do, especially putting him in them small ball rotation lineups where he's supposed to be the last line of defense. Nah, you're never going to have any success defensively. And the best player on the floor defensively is usually either Patrick Beverley, or if LeBron James is down there, him. If we happen to be lucky enough to have Wenyen or Thomas Troy Brown in those lineups, that would be our best defender in those entire lineups. So it's like Patrick Beverley's supposed to be spearheading the defense, but he's being shot over. And on the other side, the offensive game is not necessarily as fluid because he's limited, and so is Dennis. It's just a lot going on with your offensive rebounding issues, because now you're asking whoever's down there, either Bron and TB, to not only take care of defensive issues, but also rebound the ball and keep guys off the glass. So it's just, with small ball lineups with 3 guards on the floor, that's not reasonable. It's not reasonable. You're asking for foul trouble. for those bigs, and you're asking for a layup line, and that's what we end up getting. So that's what you saw against Charlotte. We dumbed it down completely for them. You had Max Christie and Troy Brown only playing like 10 minutes apiece, and that's who you needed on the floor the majority of the time to kind of offset the length that guys like Oubre and Plumlee and those guys were providing. So you put the opposite of what you needed on the floor the majority of the time, and as a result, you lost to a team that doesn't win games at all. So that's what I saw in the Charlotte game, and that is ultimately what I expect to see tonight, because our coach has been seeing this fail every night, and he's been doing the same thing over and over again. So I'm guessing it's an organizational decision to feature Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverley, and I don't understand it, nor can I make any sense of it. So it's just what I see against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I did do some homework on the Dallas Mavericks about an hour and a half ago. Should have did the video then, but allowed myself to start my morning and didn't keep a lot of that stuff that was in my head real fresh. But what I will tell you is Dorian Finney-Smith is expected to be out. Maxi Kleber may actually be out as well. Reggie Bullock, from what I understand, he's banged up. They don't expect him to play. So it's a lot going on with the Dallas Mavericks. Kemba Walker is coming back from injury maybe. He might play, he might not. But it's a Christmas day in Los Angeles. Something tells me Kemba's going to want to play that game if he's good to go. So it's one of those situations where, because it's a Christmas Day game in the game is in Dallas, but it's Christmas Day. So I expect these guys to want to suit up if they're at all healthy enough to do so. So some of those guys are out, but like a Kemba Walker, I do expect to see. Thing about it is, the Dallas Mavericks are a team that shoots a lot of three-point shots, and this Laker team does not defend the three very well, nor do we shoot it very well, nor do we shoot very many of them. So going up against teams with this DNA is not good for us. It's not good, because what's going to likely end up happening if we stay true to who we are is we're not going to shoot enough threes to keep up with this team. They're going to shoot at volume and ultimately hit enough to beat us. This is something that we see all the time with volume three-point shooting teams. The thing about the Dallas Mavericks, of course, you're talking about Luka Doncic. He just went for 50, 10, and 8. He's Luka, man. Luka's going to do Luka stuff. You likely are going to lose if you don't have someone like LeBron James to offset all of his production, pretty much, and control the pace, and understand that Luka's looking to control the pace. One of the best players ever, man. I don't even know what to tell you. I think Luka Doncic is well on his way to being one of the greatest players ever played the game. I honestly think that. The only thing I worry about with Luka is the fact that he started his professional career earlier in his life. He was already playing against grown men at like 14, 15 years old. So he has more mileage on himself than most people his age. And they're leaning on him like he's the most durable player to ever play the game. So I think Dallas is doing things completely backwards in regards to Luka. I think he needs much more help than he has. And I think they're featuring him as a one-man band. I think they're going to wear him down like 7 years. I'm worried about him turning into the next Larry Bird for real, because they're just leaning on him too much. And so that's my thing. But as far as the team looks right now, this team is struggling defensively. They don't score very much in the paint. They don't particularly force turnovers too much. They do turn over the ball pretty much. In other words, it's an average basketball team. I'm not going to lie to you. If they didn't score 50 points, if Luka didn't give them all 50 of them points, they wouldn't have won the game. The Houston Rockets, they were the last team they played against. And it was very close. Those young kids really were dynamic and were able to do a lot of good things against them. But ultimately, they were able to kind of just edge them out. And that's pretty much the way that went. It had to be a 50-point game, as I said. They have players like, who was it down there that was breaking up a storm? It was Tim Hardaway Jr. He could not throw a rock in the ocean in the last game, and he shot at volume. So if he turns into a shooter tonight, he's been going in and out of efficiency as I've been studying their team. So he's somebody to pay attention to. If he has it going, they can be a problem. But if he turns into a shooter that wants to shoot 10, 11 shots and he ain't really hitting them, he's going to take a lot away from their squad. A guy by the name of Christian Wood. Now, the thing about it with players that they have coming in and out of the lineup, their rotations have been very inconsistent, just very naturally. So Christian Wood's normally a player they usually have coming off the bench, even though, like Russell Westbrook, he's obviously good enough to start. Just by the way they got it going on, it's the same situation. They have it better with him off the bench no matter what as a sixth man. And, of course, he comes in and dominates. The thing is, because they're missing so many forwards, I think they may be starting him right now. The thing about him, and from my understanding, even though he's very long, has an extreme talent level on the offensive end, he's kind of like TB. He ain't doing much defensively at all. And so that's one of those situations where you look at him and say, maybe we can attack him, trying to get him in foul trouble, maybe use TB to try to get him in foul trouble, use that energy that TB has to try to take it to him. He's going to try to shot block. And don't let that confuse you with him being a great defensive player. He's just going to get some shot blocking going with his length, and he's going to play the weak side. But normally he's somebody that gets pushed around. Normally somebody that doesn't really play positioning very well, needs more coaching on the defensive end. So on the other end, I mean, I don't think his offensive game has actually reached its ceiling at all. I think he still has higher levels to go. And because he's on this team with Luka being the super feature, he's just not going to get those looks. It's almost like I kind of look at John Collins in Atlanta. Like, if you feature John Collins, he can go 40. But if you got a Trae Young-like person on the team and he just gets in where he fits in, you're not going to get the most out of him. Sort of like Kuzma with us before he went to Washington. Same kind of thing there. So I don't look at Christian Wood, who's someone who's going to probably go crazy tonight. But you do understand if for some reason he does go crazy tonight, it should be expected. If he played for our team, he'd average 20 points. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I expect great things from him on a Christmas Day game. He's not somebody I think who's played on Christmas before, and he's someone with a lot of talent. So, like I said, Luka takes a lot away from everybody, and he gives a lot too. He's a pass guy, but he's the overall rotating. Everything rotates around him. Everything's run through him. He's going to shoot 28 shots a game. That kind of thing. So, I just think that the problem with that, in terms of, okay, you can just load up on him and just triple team him and kind of neutralize him, make other people beat you, is the fact he's going to find those other people. Like LeBron James, like Magic Johnson, like all the great passers in this league, he has that gift. And rarely do I mention him as one of the great passers, but he is. He needs to be respected as one of the great playmakers in this game. But he tends to overshoot, in my humble opinion. Like I said, they have everything revolving around him, and he tends to sometimes forget to use those teammates who may not be as talented as he would like them to be sometimes. But with guys like Hardaway back, who wasn't available last year, out for the season last year, now back, working his way back. Of course, we said he was bricking left and right, but he's capable of going for 30. You know what he can do. You look at Spencer Dinwiddie, who's having a pretty good season as well. He's settled into this role on that team. Definitely somebody you need to take seriously against the Lakers, because obviously he's from Los Angeles, so he's going to want to show up on a Christmas Day game against the Lakers, just like Christian Wood, who's from Long Beach. So it's a lot of that going on this team, and we want to pay attention to those dudes because I have a feeling they're going to want to show out for their families here. So that's one of those situations. I look at a guy by the name of Hardy. I think his name is Jet. I don't know what his first name is, so I'm just going to say his last name is Hardy. He's day-to-day right now. That's a real high-level young player. I think he's a third-year guy. I've been waiting for him to pop. I'm getting him mixed up with Green. Green and Hardy are both talented players. They're both lottery picks. They're both high-fly acts. They both can contribute. They both don't have big roles because they're on the Dallas Mavericks, where everything revolves around Luka Doncic. Those are two players the Lakers need to be targeting. If you think about young players who fit that mold we've been talking about, you can kind of just get them away from their situation. Those two right there, because they've been in Dallas and they're just never going to get featured like that. It's a Luka show. So a guy like what's his name? Green, I think I called him Jalen Green. That's the dude from the Rockets. But Green, just get that part. His last name is Green, and Hardy. Those two players are definitely on this Dallas Maverick team. I think if you give them bigger roles, like a guy like Moses Moody up in Golden State, you let them develop, they're going to turn into something. You just know it. It's just a matter of them getting those opportunities. So I don't know that they get them with Dallas, but you may see more of them tonight because they're missing certain players, that kind of thing. So their rotation, I don't know what to expect. If Kemba plays, it can take a lot of minutes away from people, so who knows what you're going to see from Dallas tonight. But one thing's for certain, it'll be a lot of Luka. Whoever's around him, it ain't going to matter. It's a Luka show. And so that's the point. Crowding him just opens up the passing lanes for him. He's going to find whoever's open. Not crowding him and not creating walls around him just leaves him open to do whatever he wants to do, and he's going to do just that. So it's one of those situations, like I said, if a superstar like LeBron James don't be a superstar tonight, we ain't got no chance of even competing against this guy. He's going to control the pace, and he's ultimately just going to make it about him, like all night long. And you're going to see him get to the free throw line. Like I said, obviously we're on the road rather, so you're not going to get the type of calls you're hoping to get most times. And so we're going to have to try to do something about what we're seeing out there and try to control our fate in areas where we can, not turning the ball over, crashing the glass, playing players with size. Obviously, Austin Reeves needs to continue to score the ball like he's been doing. Lonnie Walker needs to continue to be attacking. We need that athleticism in the open court that he gives us. when Dennis Schroeder continues to play, I've seen good things out of Dennis Schroeder. It's kind of gotten lost in the midst of all of this because he's always on the floor with small players. But when he's down there, if you were to just put him with the right players on the floor, he's a hell of an asset to this team, and that's gotten lost. But he's been really good, particularly assisting the basketball. I've been very impressed with that aspect of his game. Much better this year than he was in 2021. He was giving the guys the ball in rhythm and ultimately helping us with our overall continuity. So that is something I've neglected to say, and it's something that has really been poignant in this situation. I just wish, for God's sake, that our coach would put him on the floor with people who can actually help him defensively. That's all I ask. And those people exist. Max Christie, Troy Brown, Wenyen Gabriel. I don't want to hear this talk about who do you want the Lakers to play. You got nothing but people to play. You got Wenyen Gabriel. You got, as I said, some more guys too. My mind's gone blank, but we got these players, man. We got to use them, man. Russell Westbrook's on this team. We can use him. Lonnie Walker obviously is in rotation. We got Thomas Bryant. I don't know how he's going to be doing with that shoulder, but hopefully he'll be 100% this Christmas Day. I think the big fella will be all right if that thing can go. I didn't see him on the injury report, so I think he'll be okay. So this is one of those things where it's like I don't think we can survive without him anyway, to be honest with you. Given the fact that this team has a guy like JaVale McGee on the other side, you are going to need to use him. And Damian Jones may be needed as well. We're just going to need to go with what we have. I'm disappointed that the Lakers haven't called up somebody from the G League that can help us with our size, man. I'm disappointed in that. I understand that you can't make trades because trades suck right now. Nobody's going to give you anything worth cost. At cost, everyone's going to want you to overpay. I understand that it's not easy to move certain players around because of contract stuff. But we waived Matt Ryan, 37's a weapon, about 3 weeks ago, and there's still a roster spot here that we haven't even used. Now, I know we called up Scottie Pippen a couple days ago, but of course, he's a guard, so it doesn't really make sense for us to call up more guards. We need people who can help us with rebounding and perimeter defense and ultimately size. We need people who can help provide more strength at that forward center position. I don't understand why we can't call up Paris Bass or somebody. I mean, I'm not asking us to do nothing crazy. I'm not asking us to do nothing that would be out of the ordinary. Take one of them dudes on South Bay and bring them to the squad so that they can help fill the fullness of the roster, yo. Because there's zero excuse for that. The team ain't complete because we have natural holes. Those holes aren't complete because we don't have the players to fill them. But you look at your G League team and you see guys down there on an 8-game winning streak a couple weeks ago. Yo, fam, what is keeping us from taking the power forward on that team and bringing him up to the big league for a couple weeks? I don't see anything keeping us from doing that, yo. We have the roster spot wide open. There's no one there. So these are the type of things I'm like, all right, Lakers, there is zero excuse for that. You don't have one. There's nothing you can say. You just haven't done right in that way. And so that's all there is to it, man. And that's a million other things that they haven't done right about as well, obviously, that they can kind of weasel their way out of and say, well, it's circumstantial. Not when it comes to making this roster better as it pertains to using the G League talent you already have. You don't have an excuse. And so that's where I'm disappointed. I don't care about stuff we can't control, but the stuff we can, do something about. So that's what I have to say to the front office, scouts. I know you guys know better than to leave us down here at this type of disadvantage when we're losing to the Charlotte Hornets. After that loss, there should have been something done in this vein. Period. You saw what the problem was. You saw Thomas Bryant go down with the injury. You know we would be leaning on, otherwise, no center. So what would keep you from calling up Jay Huff? I didn't see nothing from Jay Huff that makes me think he shouldn't be here for that. Even though he has perimeter, he can't get out to the perimeter and guard the perimeter. So, it's like literally so. That's not a good excuse to not call him up right now. It's not. You know why? Because we have small ball lineups that can't rebound. So it's not incumbent on him to get out to the perimeter necessarily in certain lineups that we're using. We just need him to take care of the paint and get those extra rebounds and ultimately do the stuff that he's really, really good at, which is guard the perimeter. Guard the paint. And so that's one of the situations where I'm like, man, I just want the Lakers to get it right, man. I'm trying to get it right as I'm misspeaking. They need to get it right by putting the right players on the floor to fill this team so that our guys can at least play in position, man. I just want us to help Darvin Ham so that life don't have to be so hard for him, because he's trying to lean on stuff that he believes in, and it's failing, and we're getting frustrated. And this is something that we can disarm him from if you're the front office. You don't have to. None of this has to happen. And I understand that Jeannie's got a lot going on. Congratulations to her in her life. She's getting married. I heard she had the back surgery. All of this is very important for her to not be around the team and have to focus on what the heck's going on the floor. She pays people for that. You feel me? She pays people for that. She shouldn't have to have a magnifying glass on this basketball team from her seat. And that's why I want her to understand that the people she's hired make it so that she does need that magnifying glass. And that's the point. She needs to hire people so that she can actually breathe in life without people saying, hey, what's going on with the team? Because we got to look over those people because they're not going to do right. I'm sorry. We got to just eliminate that. Eliminate that. I cannot stress it enough. You got to eliminate that. You got to see how all of this failure comes from that think tank and that mindset, or whatever it was, it led to this, and we got to get away from it. So that's what it is, man. We're going to watch this Dallas Maverick-Laker matchup. Hopefully we can match up with this team. If our coach chooses to, we'll have a chance. But Luka Doncic will ultimately do what he's supposed to do, man. He's one of the great players in this league. It's a Christmas Day game. He should put up big numbers, man. And LeBron James should as well. And I don't look at LeBron James as somebody who's going to be able to affect winning, man. I don't. I think he's a complimentary piece that can provide us easy buckets. And I like that he gives us that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a massive asset to any basketball club. Easy baskets. That's what's missing when he isn't there mostly. It's his rebounding poise and the easy buckets. We're able to get some of the other stuff, man. Some of the playmaking stuff like that. We're able to find that from Westbrook. We're able to find that from Reeves. But damn it if the Lakers don't have a hard time scoring the basketball without LeBron James. So that's where I like where he's at. And the fact that he needs to score just makes it even better. All I ask is that he continue to be the mindset of efficiency king, man. Get your 30, 35 a night. Get your 8 boards a night, you know what I'm saying? Get your assists, a couple assists, maybe 5, 4 a night. He doesn't have to be a playmaker if he doesn't want to be. But I would prefer he try to look for more assists, because at the end of the day, it does make the team better. And if he's settling for jump shots and settling for his own shot, guys are just going to lose interest. But at the end of the day, he does need to be a designated scorer for this team, because that is where we ultimately can get the most from him. And that is ultimately where we can't get it from anywhere else. Lonnie Walker's pretty consistent for the most part, but his shooting comes and goes. Same thing with Austin. The scoring comes and goes. You can't trust Troy Brown to put a point up. Same with Patrick Beverly. You just can't trust him to put a point up. And then you look at Schroeder. He's going to score for sure, but he's going to give it right back up on the other end. And so it's like we need certain things, and this team just needs to try to find it where it isn't there. That's why I asked us to play Max Christie, because maybe he can find, tap into some strengths that kind of cater to the overall team's needs. He's a good defensive player. He can shoot the ball some. He rebounds the ball well. These are things that we need. Length. It's like if the young fella can help us, we don't really need to be acting like he's a rookie right now, treating him like it's like this is 1986 and rookies must sit because old guys are going to teach them the role. All that stupid ass stuff. Excuse my language, but it's like I'm over the old stuff, man. We need to step our game up and understand this is modern times and understand our holes and our needs. Understand that the old guys we're leaning on is like the opposite of that 87 years. Those guys need to be out and the young guys need to be playing, because everybody in the league is young guys. If you look around, the Dallas Mavericks have a bunch of those young players as well. They're not running old guys themselves. So, Luka Doncic is 23 years old. If that, you're just not gonna get far. If Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverly are your focus tonight, you're not gonna get far. So I encourage our coach to just lean on Brown, lean on Gabriel, lean on Bryant, lean on Christie. Obviously Austin Reeves and Lonnie and the guys that we've been leaning on in that way. But get the small dudes out of there, man. Don't have him trying to look. Kemba Walker's on the floor. I know you're going to be tempted to put Patrick Beverly on him. Don't. Just don't, bro. I'm serious. Don't. I don't need... And the reason why I say that is because Kemba is playing very well. Even though he's coming back from injury, He's just a third or fourth option, man. So if you're putting him down there to match up with Kemba Walker, Kemba gonna cook him. He is. Even at this stage, he's gonna cook him because the height. They're both the same height. You're not giving yourself an advantage with height. I say, if you got a guy like Kemba Walker, yeah, he's kind of quick. Yeah, he loves to dance. When he's out there in the perimeter, he can create space for himself with a lot of moves. But at the end of the day, he's a step slower too. And I think a guy like Max Christie with his length, with the double team coming to help, a guy like Troy Brown coming on the weak side to flash at him a little bit, you may be able to have some more success than trying to put Patrick Beverley on him. Patrick Beverley's always looking up at people. It's such a disadvantage, man. It's such a disadvantage. And I know he's going to be, the continuity is going to be excellent because he's going to make sure everybody's in place. But then you see plays like we saw down the stretch of the game where he's running in the same lane with Russell Westbrook and the ball goes off Russell's hands down the stretch of the basketball game. I'm just like, why was he even down there in the first place, yo? You think you're going to get away with that against Luka the Don? You're going to smoke us. So it's just about us recognizing what gives us the best opportunity to compete, no matter who it is we're playing against at this point, and do that, man. And I'm telling you, if he goes out there with this small ball starting lineup, if he come out there starting the third quarter and the first quarter with these two little dudes, we're going to see a repeat of the same crap we've been seeing for the last 3 games, y'all. It's going to be the same thing because that's just what it is, man. And I'm very much worried that that's exactly what we're going to see because our coach is very consistent. He believes in continuity, and that is something that he's leaning on, which is something I believe in. But if you do the wrong thing a million times in a row, you're just going to get good at doing the wrong thing. And that's not going to lead you with very good results. And I think that's what we're doing. It's like consistency at what, man? Consistency at what? Are we doing everything wrong here over and over and over again? Yes, is the answer to that question. That's what I'm seeing, just like last year. So that won't work at American Airlines Arena here at 11:30 this morning. That will not work. You got to be ready for that team. It's an early Christmas Day game. I would love to say I'm excited, but I'm more so irritated by my team and just anticipating more irritation. And I know it's coming. That's the problem. It's like we're at a point where we're past whether or not you think people are going to learn from their mistakes. It's about whether or not they see them as mistakes just like you do. And that can take a long time before people start realizing stuff you come around to realize. Especially I've seen on this channel, people are usually a month ahead behind me, man. So it's one of those situations, it's like, all right, let me just be patient, bear with everybody. Obviously, we're not going to be winning many games anyway without Anthony Davis. But it's just a style of play of what we have to sit there and witness. Do we have a chance? Or are we left strategically without one? And if so, why am I watching that? Especially when I see combinations of players that we can use that give us a better shot, and we just not putting those players on the floor. Nah, that doesn't work, man. And I'm telling you, I'm not above calling for a coach's job. I've done it on this camera 1,006 times. And I'm not there yet with Darvin Ham, but it's not because I haven't seen stuff that makes me want to fire him. It's just because we didn't fire like 4 coaches in a row. And I just don't think that firing a rookie coach is the way to handle your situation. You know what I mean? You have to teach a rookie coach. They have to learn lessons, which is why you don't give them a win-now situation. And so that's where my head is. You shouldn't have gave him this. You know what I mean? You should have known he was going to do rookie stuff. If it wasn't this, it was going to be something else. You know what I'm saying? He's a rookie. So we talked about that in the summertime, and unfortunately it came in this form. I was hoping it would be something else, not small ball, repeated, same thing that we saw last year. I was hoping it would be. If you're a rookie coach, I was hoping we see technical stuff. Maybe you forget to call timeouts, which he does. That's definitely a thing. But not stuff that would just leave us schematically at a disadvantage from a size standpoint. Never would I have hired Darvin Ham if I thought he was going to do that. Seriously, y'all, I wouldn't have. So that's where we at, man. I want him to stop. I literally want him to stop. I want to believe in this coach again. I feel the same way about him as I felt about Anthony Davis. You lost me, man. You had me for a while, and then you lost me. Because I don't understand stuff that doesn't work, that people see doesn't work and continue to use. And it's been my problem with this team. So for us to still be in this space, I'm frustrated. And that's really all I can think about in regards to the team. So hopefully they can change their tune. I don't expect Rob Pelinka to moves. I don't expect him to make any trades. Because in order to make trades in this environment, it's going to have to be something that we're not going to like. He's going to have to basically give up our picks for something that's not going to make us better. teams are going to construct the trades that they offer us to make sure that we're not good enough. Like, that's the goal of the league, is to get the picks from the Lakers and to assure that whatever you're giving them ain't of cost. You know, the whole league's against us. So we need to believe that, understand that, and see it. And keep a note of all 29 of them. For real. Because there are going to be opportunities for us to get back at them. And if I were in that seat, I would. So that's something they'd all need to be worried about, messing with me. As a Laker GM, y'all going to shut me out for real? Bet. And that's how I'd be doing it. So y'all do whatever y'all got to do today. I'll get my last laugh tomorrow with y'all. But in the meantime, fans have to understand that that's the environment. That's what's on the table. People are handing him plates of chewed up bubble gum and stuff and saying, here, give me your picks for it. And if he pulls the trigger on something like that, it's career suicide. So what does it look like when he doesn't? It looks like this. Nothing happens. So people need to just be patient and just be happy that he hasn't pulled the trigger on some of that stuff that's being proposed out there. Because a lot of that stuff is just going to help us right now, potentially, and it could hurt us several years down the road, especially the way this front office has been managing numbers and fudging the way they do things and contracts. No, you don't want anything that's going to make you less flexible with these guys particularly. You know, it's not just the situation you're in, it's who's managing it too, right? It's like, don't make things more complicated for them, please. And so that's where I'm at with it, man. I just want us to gut everything, bro. Honestly, I just want everything. The only thing I really want left is the young players. And Bron, if he wants to be here, bro, that's it. Everything else, keep the colors, friends. Keep the colors, keep the building. You feel me? I'm over it. I want all this stuff out, man. I just don't believe in it. I want to believe in it. I like the unit. They're cool. They're a good team to root for, even though they're not a good team themselves. They're a good team to root for. They've provided us a lot of ebbs and flows. The games aren't boring. Up until the last 3 games, they were worth watching. So it's like, all I need my coach to do is just see what I see. 2 players. Get them out of there. Christie, Brown, put them in there. That's it. Schroeder, Beverly out. Christie, Brown in. And Brown ain't even playing it good. So it don't have to be Brown. It can be somebody else too. Let it be somebody else. I don't care. But get them 2 out. Put Christie in there and get us the length that we need, man. More Winyan Gabriel. Up Winyan's minutes. Ain't like we don't play better with him on the floor most of the time any damn way. Up his minutes. Who are you giving 35 minutes to? Not nobody better than Winyan. Nobody's helping us more than Winyan. Start Austin Reeves. The entire Laker Nation has been telling you to start this kid. He is better than all of the guards we got, man. Okay? And I love Russell Westbrook, but let's come on, man. Let's just zip forward into understanding here. He's the smartest guard we got. He should be starting. That's it. So anyway, man, I just want our team to smarten up, do smart things, and play smart players, man. Max Christie and Austin Reeves would basically be starting if I were running things. Lonnie Walker, all of them, they would be in the starting lineup because they give us the best opportunity to win. Lonnie Walker, Austin Reeves, Winyan Gabriel, Troy Brown, LeBron James. I don't need much else. And to just play them a bunch of minutes, bro. Play them a bunch of minutes. And when they need a breather, sub in all them dudes that you love to sub in. That's it. That's literally it. Do it like other teams do it. You only got 7 or 8 good players in rotation. They just need a breather. They just need somebody to come in when they get in foul trouble. That's it. That's it, man. You lean on who can play, and you leave everybody else out. And you sub them out as your GM. You've traded them or moved them for players who have more upside, and you find yourself with opportunities to actually compete in these games. But if you keep sitting on everything, on your assets as if they, are the most prized possessions in the world, and you don't want to move anything, and you look down there, you let your coach run rampant, and he's going out there doing stuff that don't make no damn sense, you're going to find yourself with a franchise full of fans that talk like this on Christmas Day of no less. Come on. That's all I'm saying, Jeannie. Merry Christmas. But you gave us a lump of coal this season, and you told us it was going to be something good. Unacceptable. So, with a lot of Laker pride in my heart, I expect the Lakers to come out, play a good Christmas Day game. Like I said, stars will be stars. I expect Bron to go for 38 and Luka to go for 48, something like that, Stars will be stars. But do I expect a win? Oh, no. This is Luka's era. We're in Luka's time. This is his time. It's a Christmas Day game in Luka's house. If we beat him, it'll be because we brought it to him, because we did everything correctly, and because we got some grace from the referees that we definitely didn't get against Charlotte. Yeah, we didn't talk much about that, but that was, yeah. So that's why my pessimism is as it is. I felt like we were somewhat phased out of that game, and I don't see why they wouldn't phase us out of this one too. I don't see why they wouldn't. They didn't have the decency to get LeBron James a home game on his Christmas Day, right? They sure didn't. So we know where the respect is. At any rate, man, I didn't talk as much about the Mavericks as I would have liked to. I had more complaining to do this morning, unfortunately. But I did a lot of homework on them, and essentially, they don't score in the paint, okay? They don't. So just understand that they're going to shoot over 43s tonight, and if they hit over 10 of them, that's probably over 15 of them, that's too much for us. So we're going to have to score a lot in the paint. They don't guard their paint very well either. I think people tend to score a lot in their paint. So that's what we need to do. Easy buckets from Bron, TB if he's out there, Wenyen Gabriel if he's out there, and we just need to continue to attack. Russell Westbrook driving at the paint, Austin Reeves dancing on people, and good perimeter defense, because obviously that's all they want to do. That's all they want to do. They want to shoot, and shoot some more. They've never seen a three-point shot they don't like. They don't care if it's falling or not. They're going to shoot it at volume, at least 40 of them a night. So understand that. They're shooting. So that's it. Keep perimeter defenders on the floor as best as possible. Crowd Luka Doncic to where, as much as you can, and enjoy the show, because he's going to destroy us. This is what's going to happen unless LeBron James does something about it. That's pretty much it. So that's what I got to say, man. I would love to have a great night, with this Laker team. So hopefully at 11:30 this morning, they can surprise us and come into this Dallas building and make them feel our presence. That's all I can ask for from a losing basketball team. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.